What's up guys, welcome back to Arcana Magic. Today I have a super cool and fun tutorial that honestly gets great reactions every time, especially with the kicker at the end. The spectators that I perform this to usually, freak out when they see the final kicker at the end, which is very simple and common in Magic, but the way it's done in this trick just adds a little bit more emphasis to the change, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I do the performance. All right, so before we jump into it, I just would like to kindly ask for you guys to please like this video if you do enjoy it, and subscribe if you are interested in more Magic tutorials, as it really does help the channel. All right, let's jump into the performance and then the tutorial. So the spectator is going to go through and select any card. In this case, let's go with the 7 of spades. The 7 of spades will be placed aside so that the next spectator does not pick the same card. In this case, we'll go with the ace of spades. 7 of spades and ace of spades. All right, the rest of the cards will just get dropped back on top. Now, my job is to scroll through the deck and identify a potential temperature change, because the cards that have just been taken out should be a little bit cooler than the rest. And this card over here feels a little bit cooler, so let's take a look. It should be one of the spectator's cards. It is the 7 of spades. All right, now I'm going to take the 7, and the 7 is going to help us find the other card, which I believe was the ace of spades. So if I scroll through just like this, I should be able to stop at the ace of spades. Now that's the kicker that I was talking about. Let's learn how that trick is done. All right, so this trick is a little bit easier than you think, and there's multiple ways in which you can perform it. So here's basically the idea of how the trick works, okay? So first thing you need to do is have the spectator shuffle the deck, because it's always more impressive when they know that there's no setup, okay? Then what you're going to do, you're going to have 2 spectators select 1 card each, or you can have 1 spectator select 2 cards. The idea is that you want to control both cards on top of each other, onto the top of the deck. Now in the performance, I didn't control them to the top of the deck. I controlled them to the top of half the deck so that I could drop them into the middle just like that. What I did was, which was maybe a little bit flashy, and you may have seen this part, but there's multiple ways to do this. But what I did was, when the first spectator selected a card, and as I turned it over, I dropped another card on top, placing a random card into this pile so that the spectator selected card was on top here. And then I had them select another card, and I placed that on top as well. So essentially, I got the 2 spectators' cards on the top of this pile, and then I was able to drop the rest on top with a pinky break. We'll get to that in a second. Now, a simple way to do this would be to have a spectator select a card and select another card, take them both out of the deck. All right, then what you're going to do is you're going to take the first card, you're going to cut the deck, and have them put it in like that. And you're going to get a break, and you're going to do some cuts instead of just shuffling the deck. And you're going to do the same thing again. Cut half the cards, the card will be there, they place it on top. You then get a pinky break, and you cut it to the top. Now this is called the double undercut. There's lots of tutorials of this on YouTube. The idea is that you have a pinky break between the cards, and you pick up a little bit of the cards with a thumb break, put it on top, and then you catch the rest of the cards at that thumb break to put the other 2 on top. Another way to do this is to have 2 spectators or a spectator take out 2 cards at the same time, cut them into the middle of the deck, both of them on top, get a pinky break, break off at that pinky break like that, and riffle shuffle them to the top, so it looks like you're mixing them up. Now if you don't know how to do the riffle shuffle, I have done a tutorial for it. You can just check the link at the top of this video. We'll use the ace and 2 of clubs for this example. Okay, so the spectators' cards are on the top. Now what you're going to do is you're actually going to cut them into the middle of the deck. This first part of the trick is quite easy. It's just a pinky break, right? Holding my pinky underneath and scrolling through the cards until I get to this. Now this is where the pattern matters, where what you say builds the trick. So I use the whole pattern of, I'm going to feel the temperature and go through, and I go past the card so they don't see the break, and I keep my eye on this one. So let's just have these 2 cards turned over. Okay, so pinky break. I scroll through, I go past it, I keep my eye, I go back, and I cut them back to the top. Now, big thing to note for this, all right, is your pinky break cannot be a big one. So if it's a big pinky break and you start scrolling through, you're going to see an obvious difference, even if these cards are turned over, right? If I go like this, you know which card I'm going to stop at, which is also why it's important to go past it first and then come back. But another way to make this more deceptive is to just hold a very light pinky break, as light as you can, where it's just like that, okay? And when you go through, you want to cover it by taking off cards like this. Now, even in the performance, you can tell which card I was going to stop at a little bit until I went past it. So it is a bit difficult, but just keep practicing until you get it. And then you say, okay, this card here feels a little bit warmer. And you have to go past it, because if you don't go past it as well, then how did you even feel that it was warmer? So you got to feel all the cards. And this one felt cooler. At this point, I did a double lift because both of these cards are the spectators cards. All right, so double lift, ace of clubs, the two of clubs behind it. Okay, so all that was a pinky count, boom, boom. Or you can riffle, see the two cards, get a pinky break, and flip over two cards as one. There's also a million different tutorials on YouTube for the double lift. This little move I like to add in, I can also teach this, just let me know in the comments. So take off, so it looks like I've got the ace of clubs, but when I turn it over, I actually put the two of clubs down, and now I'm sure you can figure out the rest. The trick, really build this up, because this is the kicker. In their minds, this is the ace of clubs, and there's no reason for there to be a switch, because I'm going to now stop at the two of clubs, right? That just makes sense, and it's going to be still impressive. They think they know what's coming, and that's where it may be a simple trick, and it may be simple slides, but the idea of them not thinking that this is going to be the trick is what actually gets them, because in their mind there's no reason for a switch. If I was to put this in someone's hand, they think, oh, maybe it's a switch. But in this case, I found the ace of clubs. Okay, cool, I'm gonna use it, and now I'm gonna stop at the two. So they actually think this is gonna be impressive. They think I'm gonna be able to figure out which card is the two, and then you hit them with the kicker that it's actually in my hand. So yeah, I love performing this. Genuinely, the reactions with that kicker are great. And if you don't believe me, give it a try for yourself. Let me know in the comments if it does work. I've also made a card tutorial playlist. If you're interested in learning more magic tricks, I think I have a bunch of videos on that playlist. If you watch them from start to finish, you'll have a bunch of card tricks under your arsenal, and it would also really support the channel. So please do subscribe and turn the notifications on for future videos, and like this video and comment and all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one.